They both worship discipline. They both fear chaos. They both believe that order is the secret to success. And yet, one built a future. The other built a museum that calls itself a country. Japan and Singapore, two nations obsessed with punctual trains, quiet citizens, and the holy trinity of efficiency, cleanliness, and control. But under the same surface of order beats two completely different souls. In Singapore, discipline is a tool to rise. In Japan, discipline is a cage to die inside. Politely, of course. By the end of this video, you'll see why both nations wear the same uniform of perfection, but only one still remembers what it means to live. Let's start with the myth everyone loves to repeat: Asian discipline. Westerners say it like a spell. Wow, Asians are so hardworking, as if all of Asia wakes up at 5 a.m., bows to a spreadsheet, and eats Excel files for breakfast. But let's break it down. Singapore's discipline, it's strategic. Every rule has a return on investment. You queue for food because it keeps hawker chaos efficient. You pay fines because it's cheaper than corruption. You follow the law because the system actually rewards you later. Japan's discipline, it's ritualistic. You bow not because it helps anything, but because not bowing makes everyone panic. You overwork because everyone else overworks. You apologize even when the vending machine eats your coin, as if it's your fault for inserting it too slowly. In Singapore, discipline is like a gym membership. It makes you stronger if you use it smartly. In Japan, discipline is like a cult. It owns you. Singaporeans endure rules to get results: a promotion, a BTO flat, a retirement plan. Japanese endure rules because breaking them means exile. And here's the irony: outsiders see both societies and say, wow, they're so similar. But step inside. Singaporeans obey for freedom. Japanese obey for acceptance. Both are disciplined, but only one uses discipline to evolve. The other uses it to fossilize itself. In Singapore, children are trained to become strategic survivors. In Japan, children are trained to become obedient soldiers. Both systems produce excellence, but one creates thinkers and the other manufactures ghosts in suits. Let's start with the classroom. A Singaporean kid learns early that life is an exam, but one that can be hacked. They'll tell you, just memorize the marking scheme, don't waste time understanding. It's transactional, efficient, brutal, but practical. They grow up believing rules are negotiable if you're smart enough. Meanwhile, in Japan, a child learns that rules are sacred. They clean their classroom not to learn hygiene, but humility. They line up for lunch like monks queuing for enlightenment. And when the teacher says "ganbata," they actually believe suffering equals virtue. By the time both grow up, the difference becomes painfully clear. A Singaporean walks into the office thinking, how do I win this game? A Japanese walks in thinking, how do I not embarrass my ancestors? Singapore's system mass produces adaptable opportunists, people who can reinvent themselves overnight if the market changes. Japan's system mass produces devoted functionaries, people who'd rather burn out than question why they're still photocopying in 2025. One treats education as a weapon, the other treats it as a ritual. That's why Singapore can pivot from finance to AI to biotech in a decade. While Japan still thinks fax machines are cutting-edge innovation, both nations raise their youth to be disciplined. But discipline in Singapore is a strategy. In Japan, it's a religion. One empowers individuality within the system, the other sacrifices individuality to the system. Same uniform, different soul. Walk down Orchard Road in Singapore or Shibuya in Tokyo, and you'll think you've entered the future. No trash, no graffiti, no chaos, just the hum of capitalism perfectly sterilized. But look closer. That spotless pavement, it's not a sign of moral superiority, it's fear management. In Singapore, people don't litter because it's expensive. In Japan, people don't litter because it's shameful. Different currency, same obedience. Singapore's order is contractual. You break the rule, you pay the price. Japan's order is spiritual. You break the rule, you pay with your dignity. The result? Two utopias that look peaceful on the surface, but are powered by quiet anxiety. In Singapore, every clean corner hides the stress of constant surveillance, CCTV cameras, ERP gantries, and the government's godlike omnipresence. People don't just behave, they perform good citizenship. The soul of the nation is, I'm not doing wrong because someone's watching. In Japan, every polite smile hides emotional exhaustion. The garbage isn't on the street, it's in the heart. It's the unspoken resentment, the suppressed opinions, the tatame smile that hides the Hun scream. The soul of the nation is, I'm not doing wrong because everyone's watching. Singapore's cleanliness is engineered order. Japan's cleanliness is emotional repression. And that's the beauty and tragedy of both. Singapore built a clean world outside to make people feel safe inside. Japan built a clean world outside to distract people from what's dying inside. Both shine under the sun, but one reflects control, the other reflects emptiness. Discipline builds nations, but it can also bury them. And that's where Japan and Singapore stand on opposite ends of the same moral assembly line. Singapore treats discipline like an operating system, always updating, always optimizing, always asking, how can this rule make us richer, faster, smarter? Japan treats discipline like a museum exhibit. Please do not touch. It has worked since 1955. Let's look at innovation. Singapore is obsessed with it, not because it's creative, but because it's profitable. If the world shifts to AI, Singapore shifts too. If finance loses glamour, Singapore becomes a biotech hub by Tuesday. The national philosophy? Adapt or be irrelevant. Japan, on the other hand, was the world's innovator. Once. Sony invented the Walkman. Toyota invented lean manufacturing. Then the 90s came, and Japan froze in nostalgia, preserving its golden era like an endangered species in a snow globe. Now, when global markets move, Japan politely bows and stays put. Singaporeans see the system as a ladder. Climb it, then build a taller one. Japanese see the system as a temple. Worship it, maintain it, and never question the sacred blueprints. That's why in Singapore, a 28-year-old can launch a fintech startup and get seed funding. In Japan, that same person would be asked, are your parents aware you quit Mitsubishi? Discipline in Singapore accelerates progress. Discipline in Japan preserves stagnation. Singapore's rules are designed to evolve. Japan's rules are designed to protect the ghosts of past success. So the real question is, when does discipline stop being a virtue and start becoming a form of national taxidermy? One nation learned to upgrade its system, the other still dusts off the display case. Here's the paradox no Western liberal will ever understand. Both Japan and Singapore are obsessed with control, yet one still manages to feel alive, while the other quietly decays in perfect order. Let's start with Singapore. It's the only place on earth where you can be fined for chewing gum and still rank top in global happiness surveys. Why? Because control here buys stability. People don't fear chaos, they fear incompetence. They'll trade a bit of freedom for air conditioning that never breaks and trains that never strike. In Japan, the control isn't from the government, it's from society. No law forbids you from being different. You just won't survive if you are. People don't obey because of punishment. They obey because of social death. You can smoke, drink, or dress however you want, as long as you also apologize for existing. Singapore says, we'll control your life so you can enjoy it safely. Japan says, control your own desires so others can ignore you peacefully. One uses rules to manage the body, the other uses shame to manage the soul. And that's the difference between happiness and harmony. Singapore aims for functional happiness, As long as your bills are paid and your HDB is clean, you've made it. Japan aims for emotional harmony. As long as no one complains, everyone's fine. In Singapore, people dream of owning Teslas. In Japan, they dream of not bothering their neighbors. One defines freedom as the ability to do. The other defines it as the freedom not to disturb. Singaporeans live under control and still chase tomorrow. Japanese live under self-control and quietly forget what tomorrow means. Both disciplined, both efficient, but only one remembers that control should serve life, not replace it. Discipline built both nations, but discipline also reveals what they truly worship. In Singapore, discipline is a machine that feeds the living. In Japan, discipline has become a shrine that honors the dead. Singapore is alive with pragmatic ambition. The city feels engineered for motion, from the MRT hum to the endless construction cranes rewriting the skyline. Every rule, every fine, every campaign has one message. We are small, so we must keep moving. Japan, meanwhile, is frozen in ritual beauty. The trains still arrive on time, but no one knows why anymore. The society runs perfectly, even when no one's left to enjoy it. You can sense it, the ghostly politeness, the smiling exhaustion, the slow suffocation under cultural perfection. Singapore breathes because it allows evolution. Japan holds its breath because it fears disruption. One experiments with the future, the other embalms the past. Singapore's soul says, we must survive. Japan's soul says, we must not offend the ancestors. That's why a Singaporean will debate, adapt, and even copy shamelessly, while Japan will analyze for 20 years before approving a new payment method. Singapore bends to thrive. Japan bows to endure. The same discipline that made Japan a miracle in the 20th century now makes it a cautionary tale in the 21st. The same discipline that keeps Singapore strict also keeps it young. Both nations mastered order, but only one still remembers that order exists to protect life, not replace it. And that is the ultimate difference in soul. So here's the question only you can answer. Would you rather live in a country that controls you but keeps you alive, or a country that respects your freedom to quietly disappear? Japan and Singapore, same discipline, different soul. Which one reflects yours? Comment below. Are you team breathe or team bow?